guys, welcome to another episode. Today should technically be the day before the Vick Autosports open house when you're seeing this for the first time, if you're on the first day watching this video. But big stuff's happening today, so the stuff I'm doing today is the way you're gonna see the car when it gets there to the open house tomorrow, technically. So, what we're doing today is we're gonna install the windshield. I have sweet talked my wife into helping me out, so it's gonna be great. So it's gonna be two of us to work on that. Same thing with our hood. We're gonna be putting our hood on, getting that lined up. And they're also going to be working on the triangle window over here that's missing. I've got it on the shelf up here. And we also have the driver's side windshield on the shelf up here. We need to get that reinstalled on the guide. It's missing the hardware, so we need to figure something out for that. That way we can get our window up and down. With us traveling with this, it's going to be on a trailer on the way up there with us. So I want to make sure that, you know, if we're staying overnight, we can close up the car and not have all of everything exposed. So I want to make sure nobody messes with it. So lots to do today, very exciting stuff. It's going to actually start looking like a real car. So let's jump into it and let's get started. The first place I want to start is with our driver's side window. And there's one thing I already noticed right off the bat is we're missing all of the guide wires. So there should be wires in here for a window to sit in. If we look from the top, I don't know how well you're going to be able to see that, but there's no guide wires on the pulleys or anything like that. We're also missing the handle, so the handle's missing. So somebody was doing something in here. We do have the little plugs for the big squares, the access panels, but we're missing a lot of stuff. So we're not going to be able to put in our driver's side window, unfortunately. We can put in the triangle window because it's the other side is the guide for the window. So we'll be able to put this in. Still feels all right. Maybe needs to be replaced, but pretty easy to pull back out. So we're gonna have to work on that and get this back in here. And it's gonna sit right down there in the bottom. I don't know how well you're gonna see that. So we're gonna start with that, and then we'll start moving on to the bigger pieces. But we're just gonna have to wait on that. We'll have to put it in order to get those parts. All right, so we're fortunate enough to have the hardware on the bottom still. The previous owner was kind enough to leave it attached. I'm going to take it off. We'll be able to line that up, put this to the side, and we're going to go just like this to start, get it down there, and then we'll turn as we get closer. I'm not going to be able to show you much this very second, but once we get a little closer, I'll be able to show you guys where it lines up and how to guide it through. So we got it in there. From the front side, you can see where it's a little wavy from where it's been damaged before, but when we put the weather stripping here, it should cover that. And when we come down in here, we're going to go through this bottom access hole, and you'll see right there where that bolt that was at the end is supposed to go through and hold it in place. I've got it all the way forward, and I'm mirroring our other side so it looks identical, and it's even across the way. So we're going to bolt it in place for now. Unfortunately, like I said, we just don't have the pieces for the window right now, but we will be able to do it. And I'm sure that if we put it on our order now, we'll just pick it up tomorrow, technically, for this video from Vick's, and we'll put together our window after the fact. This side has an issue. You can see I put the vice grip on there, and I was rotating it to see how it worked, and a lot of the teeth that are on the gear in there are completely gone, just missing. So we're gonna have to replace that side also. So we're just gonna attack both sides, and that'll be a separate video in the future. That way we can show you guys how to do that one. But we're gonna get this one bolted in place, and then we're gonna move on to the next thing. Next up is gonna be our hood. I've got our windshield wiper cowl, this front cowl here, all loose, but I do have the bolt holes lined up where they're supposed to be all the way across, and this is going to give us some room to start working with that windshield eventually, but it also helps us with our alignment of the hood. So we've got our hood all buffed and everything from last episode sitting over there leaned up against the bench, and we're going to start getting this in here. I've got some bolts that I'll be able to use for in here. I'm going to treat this really quick before we cover them up. Our old faded logo off the hood there. But we're going to get these all cleaned up, get that prepped, cleaned up, painted on. That way it doesn't look like that anymore, and neutralize it. let's take care of that. Then we can start working on this hood, getting it bolted to the holder here, and then we can start closing up. Alright, while that rust preventative spray and paint combination there, that mix, starts to dry on the front there, I'm going to put a fan on it. We're going to open up our windshield. This is our replacement windshield. If you remember from very early on, our front windshield had a big old crack across it. Our rear view mirror was toast. I mean, the sun had destroyed that thing. So we're going to open this one. This came with it when I bought the car. As a replacement, it's got the frame gasket all installed on it already, so it's going to save us a huge amount of time. That way we don't have to chase that around. But we're going to get all this duct tape off of here. It's been stored up in the rafters for the past several months. Basically from the day we brought it home, I tossed it up there in the rafters in the garage here and let it sit until today. So we can finally get it out and get it in the car. Oh, this duct tape is awful. Leaves a little bit of residue on everything. So this is actually the first time I'm really seeing this completely uncovered. It was wrapped like this when I bought it, but I didn't even know that the visors were in it. It already has the clips on there. I saved those from our old frame. This gasket is installed. It looks in good shape. It even has the channels here for the door gasket material to ride on, already riveted nice in place. This is a really good start for us. It's going to save us a huge amount of time. So when we take a first look at it, it's got the front chrome trim. It looks in awesome shape. Got the middle connector, which is perfect. Looks like it came off a car that was red with after, you know, a second spray on it. We might have to see if we can get that off before we put it on there. But most importantly, like, look how pliable this rubber is. It's in really good shape, not hard or brittle or anything like that, and it's totally malleable, which is a really good sign. We'll take some razor blades and get this little bit of residue off. I'll have to find some Goo Gone and get it off the rubber here. But everything is in really good shape, no rust, nothing like that. Yeah, definitely a respray red somewhere in its life. Came off a red car somewhere, but this glass is nice and clear. Really good shape. Like I said, I got this when I got the car, so this is going to save us a huge headache because it's already assembled. So I'm going to get something to clean all this red off of here, because this is eventually going to show on the front of the car. The red is cool because it goes with our pattern, but not on the gasket material. That's asking for trouble. So we'll see if we can get that off little by little. Yeah, looks good. No rust, no pitting. I was afraid that duct tape was hiding a crack right here, but I'm glad it's not. So let's get to cleaning. We'll grab some Goo Gone, razor blade, clean all this stuff up. What I've got here is an old piece of weather stripping that goes around the windshield, but I want to show you guys close up how this is supposed to go in before we wrestle with the big piece of glass and tag team it. Now if you look, there's all sorts of different parts to this, so we're going to go a little bit at a time. So there's the front lip. That's the part that we saw that had the red paint on it that I took off, cleaned it off with a razor blade, nice and smooth. And underneath that is a big fin, and you can see here there's a silver bracket that comes from underneath the cowl, and it holds that down. Now on the back side, get you up closer. So then when it sits flush, you see it goes over the dash. But when you sit it in, there's a rounded edge here. That rounded edge sits in this channel that goes the whole length of the window. So it's a matter of getting everything lined up at once as you go to insert it. And there's a better look at that. There is for this bracket here, there's a bolt on there that you tighten up to help hold that on. little bit better angle there to show you how that sits. And when we come around, you can see where the channel will eventually rest in there. So there's a lot of moving pieces for this. That's why it's going to be hard to kind of show you how it goes, but I want to show you a close-up of how this is supposed to sit in here. With this front lip hanging over the cowl, you can kind of see where our old one used to sit as a witness mark here. So this is just a good example to show you how it's supposed to go on there. Eventually it'll sit in like that, over covering the dash, so all these gaps will be gone. So we're going to get set up. We're going to get this piece, this massive piece, all at once set up in here, get this out of our way, do one quick little wipe down, get it all straightened out, and then we can start putting it together. We got it installed, took a little bit of finagling. It's not perfect by any means, but we do have our trim tucked in here. We do have our gap covered in the middle with this connector, and it's also in on the other side. We'll have to go around and attach these brackets like that in there, tighten those down. We'll bring our cowl forward. We'll probably put a piece of string underneath here. That way it'll pull over this lip nice and evenly all the way across, so we don't have to try and dig it out with our hands. Now this is not perfect by any means. It can still be adjusted and tweaked a little bit, but it's just a good starting point, and we're starting to finally look like a car again. So it's a huge progress, huge improvement. Little by little we're getting there. So let's get this put in there, get this all the way seated, and start putting this back on. We'll probably take the vacuum and clean all this out, because we're probably not going to get back under here for a while. Not really worried about our wiper fluid either. So let's get underneath here, put those clips on, all this good stuff. Super fun. Vacuum it out, clean the glass, you know, clean. So we've got that windshield in, we've got a lot of pieces starting to come together on the car. It still needs to be slightly adjusted. There is a small gap at the bottom here where the cowl meets the rubber. It's about half the width of my finger. So we gotta do some adjusting and tweaking, but we'll probably deal with that tomorrow at the open house, take a look at it and see where we can adjust it. But what we're gonna work on next is the hood. Again, I'm recruiting my wife who's helping me to put this hood on. There's 4 bolts, 2 on each side. That paint is now dry. It's a rust preventative paint, so it treats it and it's not going to rust anymore. It's all surface stuff, but better just to cover it because I don't plan on taking this hood off anytime soon. So we're going to jump into this. I've got my bolts ready to go. I will have to go to the hardware store to get 1 bolt to hold the hood. I just don't have one in my stash with a washer to fit. We may even take this part out and kind of clean it up so it's not so faded, or we'll shoot some paint on it just to make it rebuilt, if you say. So we're going to take a snap at this, see how much we can get done, have her help me out and knock it out. Pretty straightforward process. The brackets are already on the hood, the hinges, so that takes care of a lot of the work right there. So let's jump into it, stop talking, let's get this thing aligned, hooked up, and set in the car.
All I want
Would you look at that? We are starting to look like a car once again. We've got that shiny hood on there that we buffed from last time. Way better, but you can see the difference between where we buffed it and where it's been sitting in the garage and stuff's been getting on it. So we'll wrap up this episode with a wash probably. How about that? But well, it looks like a car again. Looks like something that actually belongs on the road. Those wheels really now stand out so good. Make sure you guys check out that wheel video. I'll make sure to put a link up here in the corner for you. We're going to be deciding on those wheels. But this looks so much better. It's starting to look like it's coming together, not just a bunch of parts on a car now. So it's that much better. We're that much closer. I'm really excited for this first start. As you guys saw, it took some trial and error. Tag teaming it really made the process a lot easier. We're going to go around with our touch-up paint. It looks like we missed a few spots and do a couple more. See if we can get some of these scratches out that became more prominent now that it's sitting here in the sunlight. See if we can get some of those out, fill them in, buff them, and see if we can hide them a little bit better. So I think the last step to this is to vacuum the inside. We'll push it out. We'll get the inside cleaned up. We'll reattach our cooling fan. We took that off to set TDC for our first start to make sure we're in time. So we're going to clean all this out, put our tools away, our little goodies away. There's a lot of good stuff coming, so make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Lots of good parts in those boxes. Ready to go on this car. Wiper relay, start installing our interior parts. We've even got a modern fuse panel that will probably stick in this with modern fuses to make it a lot more safe. So that's part of the upcoming series here, but it is now coming together looking so much better, and I just cannot wait till tomorrow at the open house to show this to you guys. Let's get it cleaned up. Let's get it all set. Then we can get ready to trailer it up and see y'all tomorrow. But first, let's get clean.
Alright guys, and that's going to be the end of this episode. Cleaning it up, all ready to see you guys tomorrow.
A lot of stuff taken care of last minute to make sure that this car is ready to go for the open house tomorrow. I am so excited to meet all of you guys and meet you in person so you guys can see the car, see it all coming together, and it's really going to be cool to meet you guys. I've been looking forward to this for a really long time. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you tomorrow. So as always, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me out. That way we continue to make content and work on cars like these. So until next time, guys, we'll see you.